Joining our conversation, Minnesota's senior senator Amy Klobuchar is here, chair of the Rules Committee. Senator, thank you so much for making time for us. I wonder if it's great. We cover this issue every day in the afternoon, and it's really a privilege to get to talk to you. And I wonder if you could pull the curtain back. The Democratic legislators feel optimism. They feel like they've conveyed to all of you that they don't need the whole package. They just need something. Has that focused efforts in the Senate?
Yes. And your first speaker you featured was Trey, who I consider a friend from Texas. Those legislators, and really legislators from across the country, have come to Washington, just as they did actually in the 1960s, asking for salvation. They can't get this done in their states because, as Reverend Warnock pointed out in the clip you featured, some people don't want some people to vote. And that is really, really put in stark focus in Georgia, where their laws literally say the runoff period where Warnock and Ossoff won and registered 70,000 people, they changed the law just a few months ago and said, you can't register people. You can't vote on weekends during the runoff, and you can't give water from nonpartisan volunteers to people who have stood in line for 5 hours, 6 hours, like the people we met when we were down there for our field hearing. So what the For the People bill does, and your question is, can we focus it on what really matters in these states to get at all of these heinous things that are going on to stop people from voting? My answer is yes. And that is what we're doing right now with Senator Manchin. And let me be very clear. He has publicly said that he supports the Disclose Act to focus on the dark money in our politics, the gerrymandering. And then also what I'm working on right now is to make sure all of the voting rights, from mail-in balloting to early registration to making sure like what happened in Georgia, which will be a new part of our bill, that you can't have state legislatures usurping the power of local election officials. Those are the things we're talking about, and we are very close to getting an agreement on a final bill.
I know you see this the same way the folks on the front line see this. Are you confident that all of your colleagues in the Senate see it that way?
Yes. They have heard from Reverend Senator Warnock, as I love to call him, who, when I was down in Georgia, spoke to his congregation and said, vote is really a prayer for a better world, for a better America. They have heard from people like Jon Tester, who's a strong supporter of the bill and campaign finance reform, because he's seen the changes they've made in Montana, which once had much better election laws. Or people like Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin, who saw her own voters standing in line in makeshift masks and garbage bags in the rain in the middle of a pandemic just to exercise their right to vote. And so I think that makes a difference. And so those are the kinds of discussions we're having. I know that we will have unity on a bill. And if I don't, I'll come on the show and say, sorry, I failed. But I know we will, Nicole. I know we will. But from there, we have to figure out the procedure and how we get this done. And I just refuse, as so many people in the past in American politics, whether it is civil rights or other efforts that have advanced our country, it seemed impossible at the moment. But then we found a way to get to the right place. And that's where we need to get, because we simply can't deny people the right to vote and tell them they can't get water in line and tell them that, oh, no, you can vote on the weekends sometimes, but you can't vote on the weekends. And, oh, by the way, people of Georgia, and they did this, you need to put your birthday on the inner envelope, your birthday, not the day you're casting the ballot, your birthday, which they know will lead to nothing but confusion. This is wrong. And it is, I believe, against our election laws, but I believe that the vast majority of Americans would agree that no matter who wins, Democrat or Republican, and by the way, we have strong support for this, both parties, that we have to have election laws that make it so it is safe for people to vote, whether they're in the middle of a pandemic or not. They can vote how they want. They can cast their ballot how they want. That is the freedom of America. That is our democracy.